Continuing Plutarch's Lives, translated by John Dryden, revised by Hugh Clough, with the start of Marcus Cato. Marcus Cato, we are told, was born at Tusculum, though, till he betook himself to civil and military affairs, he lived and was bred up in the country of the Sabines, where his father's estate lay, his ancestors seeming almost entirely unknown. He himself praises his father Marcus as a worthy man and a brave soldier, and Cato, his great-grandfather too, as one who had often obtained military prizes, and who, having lost 5 horses under him, received on the account of his valor the worth of them out of the public exchequer. Now, it being the custom among the Romans to call those who, having no repute by birth, made themselves eminent by their own exertions, new men are upstarts. They called even Cato himself so, and so he confessed himself to be, as to any public distinction or employment, but yet asserted that in the exploits and virtues of his ancestors he was very ancient. His third name originally was not Cato, but Priscus, though afterwards he had the surname of Cato by reason of his abilities. For the Romans call a skillful or experienced man Catus. He was of a ruddy complexion and gray-eyed, as the writer who, with no good will, made the following epigram upon him lets us see. Parcius, who snarls at all and every place, with his grey eyes and with his fiery face, even after death will scarce admitted be into the infernal realms by Hecate. I know that's not how you're supposed to pronounce Hecate, but don't remember the Greek. He gained in early life a great habit of body by working with his own hands and living temperately and serving in war, and seemed to have an equal proportion both of health and strength, and he exerted and practiced his eloquence through all the neighborhood and little villages, thinking it as requisite as a second body, and an all but necessary organ to one who looks forward to something above a mere humble and inactive life. He would never refuse to be counsel for those who needed him, and was indeed early reckoned a good lawyer, and ere long a capable orator. Hence, his solitary and depth of character showed itself gradually more and more to those with whom he was concerned, and claimed, as it were, employment in great affairs and places of public command. Nor did he merely abstain from taking fees for his counsel and pleading, but did not even seem to put any high price on the honor which proceeded from such kind of combats, seeming much more desirous to signalize himself in the camp and in real fights. And while yet but a youth, had his breast covered with scars he had received from the enemy, being, as he himself says, but 17 years old when he made his first campaign, in the time when Hannibal, in the height of his success, was burning and pillaging all Italy. In engagements he would strike boldly, without flinching, stand firm to his ground, fix a bold countenance upon his enemies, and with a harsh, threatening voice accost them, justly thinking himself and telling others that such a rugged kind of behavior sometimes terrifies the enemy more than the sword itself. In his marches he bore his own arms on foot, whilst one servant only followed to carry the provision for his table, with whom he is said never to have been angry or hasty while he made ready his dinner or supper, but would, for the most part, when he was free from military duty, assist and help himself to dress it, When he was with the army, he used to drink only water, unless, perhaps, when extremely thirsty, he might mingle it with a little vinegar, or, if he found his strength fail him, take a little wine. The little country house of Manius Curius, who had been thrice carried in triumph, happened to be near his farm, so that often going thither and contemplating small compass of the place and plainness of the dwelling, he formed an idea of the mind of the person who, being one of the greatest of the Romans, and having subdued the most warlike nations, nay, had driven Plutarch out of Italy, now, after 3 triumphs, was contented to dig in so small a piece of ground, and live in such a cottage. Here it was that the ambassadors of the Samnites, finding him boiling turnips in the chimney corner, offered him a present of gold, but he sent them away with this, saying that he who was content with such a supper had no need of gold, and that he thought it more honorable to conquer those who possessed the gold than to possess the gold itself. Cato, after reflecting upon these things, used to return, and renewing his own farm, his servants and housekeeping, increase his labor, and retrench all superfluous expenses. Yeah, I accidentally got blood in the book. Yeah, I'm not flipping one off. There's a band-aid on the one finger if you can't see that. When Fabius Maximus took Tarentum, Cato, being then but a youth, was a soldier under him, and being lodged with one Nearchus, a Pythagorean, desired to understand some of his doctrine, and hearing from him the language which Plato also uses, that pleasure is evil's chief bait, the body, the principal calamity of the soul, and that those thoughts which must separate and take it off from the affections of the body must enfranchise and purify it. He fell in love with with frugality and temperance, with these, but with this exception, he is said not to have studied Greek until when he was pretty old, and in rhetoric to have then profited a little by Thucydides, but more by Demosthenes. His writings, however, are considerably embellished with the Greek sayings and stories. Nay, many of these, translated word for word, are placed with his own apophthegms and sentences. There was a man of the highest rank, and very influential among the Romans, called Valerius Flaccus, who was singularly skilled in discerning excellence, yet in the bud, and also much disposed to nourish and advance it. He, it seems, had lands bordering upon Cato's, nor could he but admire when he understood from his servants the manner of his living, how he labored with his own hands, went on foot betimes in the morning to the courts to assist those who wanted his counsel, how returning home again when it was winter, he would throw a loose frock over his shoulders, and in the summertime he would work without anything on among his domestics, sit down with them, eat the same bread, and drink of the same wine. When they spoke also of the other good qualities, his fair dealing and moderation, mentioning also some of his wise sayings, he ordered that he should be invited to supper, and thus becoming personally assured of his fine temper and a superior character, which, like a plant, seemed only to require culture and a better situation, he urged and persuaded him to apply himself to state affairs at Rome. Now, of course, one of the things that we could or should look at is the idea that can be kind of applied to employees, but not to the same extent, right? That slaves should be dressed and clothed to a similar degree as the slave masters. And, this can be applied to prison or something too, right? Well, perhaps protective gear for the guards, but you know what I mean. Thither, therefore, he went, and, by his pleading soon gained many friends and admirers, but Valerius chiefly assisting his promotion, he first of all got appointed tribune in the array, and afterwards was made quaestor, our treasurer, and now becoming eminent and noted, he passed with Valerius himself through the greatest commands, being first his colleague and as consul, and then censor. But among all the ancient senators, he most attached himself to Fabius Maximus, not so much for the honor of his person and the greatness of his power, as that he might have before him his habit and manner of life, as the best examples to follow, and so he did not hesitate to oppose Scipio the Great, who, being then but a young man, seemed to set himself against the power of Fabius, and to be envied by him, for being sent together with him as treasurer, when he saw him, according to his natural custom, make great expenses and distribute among the soldiers without sparing, he freely told him that the expense in itself was not the greatest thing to be considered, but that he was corrupting the frugality of the soldiers by giving them the means to abandon themselves to unnecessary pleasures and luxuries. Scipio answered that he had no need for so accurate a treasurer, bearing on, as it was, so to say, full sail to the war, and that he owed the people an account of his actions, and not of the money he spent. Hereupon Cato returned from Sicily, and together with Fabius made loud complaints in the open senate of Scipio's lavishing unspeakable sums, and childlessly loitering away his time in wrestling matches and comedies, as if he were not to make war but holiday, and thus succeeded in getting some of the tribunes of the people sent to call him back to Rome, in case the accusations should prove true. But Scipio, demonstrating, as it were, to them by his preparations the coming victory, and being found merely to be living pleasantly with his friends, when there was nothing else to do, but in no respect because of that easiness and liberality, at all the more negligent in things of consequence and moment, without impediment set sail towards the war. But in respect because of that easiness and liberality, at all the more negligent in things of the war, can be found merely. Yeah, you don't merely, enjoy life. There's more to it than that.